We are good now. Welcome to the final stream of the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts Podcast, March Madness.
Not so March.
More like April.
It's not so March, mid-April madness.
But this is the final one that we're gonna do. In case you guys are new to the stream and to us, I am Mike Straus, aka Straus21. This is Taje Mahal,
and we are the guys from Did You See That Shit Podcast, the fastest growing podcast out there. Go check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, everywhere. Or you can go just straight to our website at
didyousee.shit.com. Give us a call, guys, 708-669-4777. Give me an email, Mike at didyousee.shit.com. Follow us on Twitter, all the social medias at DYSTSP. Put a little underscore in between there.
Because we have to be complicated.
What? Because what?
Because we got to be complicated.
Well, because we couldn't do it all together for whatever reason. I don't know. That's the way we did it, so we're doing it that way.
And we're keeping it. You can't change our minds.
Anything else? We're going to have episode 19 out very shortly. In the next 48 hours, that's the next 2 days, we'll have that out.
Definitely. And then also, you know what we need to have out?
What?
Leaks Pro Audio.
Oh yeah, Leaks Pro.
They are our sponsors. They gave us some of the best headphones out there. I use a pair at home. I use a pair here. I also use their awesome mic that luckily you showed me.
Yeah, the LDC. I think that's the LDC 20. They have microphones, headphones, soundproofing, XLR cables. Pretty much
using right now.
Yeah, pretty much anything that you need to get a podcast going, to maintain a podcast, or if you're just a regular person who wants a really good pair of headphones for not so expensive, go to the website, LeaksPro.com, and use promo code Straus21. Save 15% on these very same headphones, too. So
yeah. Man, this...
let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Two more short little 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 8 fights, and then that'll be 4, and then blah, blah, blah. We're going to finish it all right now.
We're going to do this like champs.
Yeah, let's get to it, man. The first one, Dan Severn, Frank Mir. Both in their primes. You're going to say Frank Mir?
I'm going to say Frank Mir.
Ooh.
Oh, here's why. They're both in their primes, and this is how it plays out. Dan Severn is a legend. He is a beast, but I don't think he has an advantage anywhere on the fight.
Really?
I think on their feet, Frank Mir showed, and later in his career, how great his boxing could be.
With some work.
With some work, a lot of work, but his boxing got really crisp, and it's very crisp now. And then also his jiu-jitsu is always high level. So, and he's amazing off his back for his size. So I think for this particular matchup, it doesn't serve well for Dan Severn. I don't think he can outpower him. I don't think he can really outdo him in any shape of the fight.
I think Severn could out-grapple him. He's a top-level grappler. I think he could out-grapple him, but what would that grappling ultimately get him? Might get him top control. Okay. But as you said, Frank Mir has a hell of a guard. Maybe, well, him and Fabricio were doing probably 2 best big men guard ever.
But
in
Frank
the
Mir has
sport of
broken
MMA.
limbs. Oh my gosh!
And you know, at times early on in Severn's career, he has had times had a difficulty pulling the trigger on having to be real violent at times. I've personally talked with him about it, but. Man, that'd be a whole lot for Frank to handle off of his back, but yeah, I think Frank Mir would probably get that done, and I'm a big Frank Mir fan, I am, but if you would have told me that he was going to get this far early on, I would have probably been like, nah. But a lot of this has to do with seeding, and again, if you're just tuning in for the first time, number one, shame on you. Subscribe and go like the other ones and go watch the other ones, but. This was all random. You know, we picked the 64 people that ultimately made the list, but I put them into a random program and it shuffled them up for us. So we didn't pick the brackets by any means.
Yeah, and you know what? Anybody who complains, it is about matchups. Style.
And fuck you, it's ours.
Yeah, that too. Like, fuck you, we did this.
How about Tyron Woodley, Cain Velasquez? And if you guys see me like squirming around like a fish, that is because I had toe surgery earlier this morning. So I'm just trying to get comfortable with it. So that's all. Yeah. No major thing.
Cain, just a size advantage. I think he's too big for Tyron. I think his cardio is better than Tyron's. I know that's crazy to say.
Crazy to say because we haven't seen Cain, it seems like, in 2 years.
But I'm thinking of prime Cain. I think he's just too much to handle, and he's too big for Tyron. Man, that dude was a cardio machine.
Yeah, he was. Cardio Cain.
And he had amazing technique.
And Tyron's probably in his prime right now.
Yeah. No, I don't see it. I don't. I know. Like, I'm crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Both guys on their feet. I think Tyron is real defensive, and oh man, this could be a boring fight. But I think ultimately Cain, because of the size, the wrestling is very comparable. And even if you say, let's say Tyron has better wrestling, the size probably negates that.
Dude,
so
you can't. If they're both high level wrestlers, the biggest one wins.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably go Cain there too, but man, that'd probably be a boring fight. Honestly,
definitely be a
How
boring
about
fight.
this could not be? No way this fight could be boring. George St. Pierre, John Jones. Holy shit.
Oh my gosh.
This may be the most interesting fight that we've had so far. John Jones, George St. Pierre.
John Jones.
Well, talk me through it. Make me see your logic.
Oh my god. This is all because of John Jones's body. How he,
Because it turns you on.
yes, a little bit. No, it's just how awkward he is. George St. Pierre is a decent sized welterweight. Could be a lightweight if he really wanted to kill himself, and a small middleweight.
I think he's a small welterweight.
So he's a very, very undersized middleweight and a small welterweight, and could be a lightweight. John Jones could be a heavyweight.
Easy could be a heavyweight.
It could easily be a heavyweight. He is so long. He is so lanky. You've seen him go against high-level wrestlers all throughout his career.
It's weird because, hear me out, George is not a high-level wrestler at all. However, he has the best wrestling that MMA's ever seen.
Yeah.
But he's not a high-level wrestler. He never even wrestled in college. He's
No.
not a high-level wrestler. He doesn't do... If you played a tape, young wrestlers, don't watch George and learn how to wrestle. Watch like a Michael Chandler. Don't watch George. But George is a phenomenal wrestler in mixed martial arts.
It's so weird.
It's weird. It doesn't translate.
It doesn't translate well.
It's crazy.
But his wrestling in MMA is high level, and John Jones has faced high level wrestlers in MMA. Daniel Cormier, his wrestling has translated.
He is a high level wrestler outside of MMA.
But in MMA, his
also is.
He also is. So I'm going to go with John Jones because I think John Jones could keep it from going to the ground. And I think he would win on his feet, only because he's so long, he's so lanky, and he has a talent that I've never seen before. His ability to wing it and start doing some crazy things and land. I think he would knock him out on the feet, and it wouldn't be able to go to the ground.
Okay. Well, I think, as you guys know, I like to kind of play this out in my head, right? So I think it would, obviously it starts standing, right? So I think George is smart enough, especially with guys like Danaher in his corner, to formulate a game plan that would be very advantageous for him in this fight, right? So I think George could have some success with the jab, like we've seen him in some fights. I think he could. I don't want to say pick John apart.
That kind of Superman jab he does?
No, just a regular conventional jab, like the one that he worked Josh Koscheck with and broke both of his orbital bones.
Ooh.
I think he could have some success on John like that. I think John would figure out a way to correct that action so that wouldn't be there for George anymore. I think George would probably shoot eventually, probably be stuffed. I think George maybe can get John down, but then again, what do you do down there? Then it comes down to how could George win? I don't know. I'm having a hard time. Maybe ground and pound. Maybe he lands that shot. Maybe he can catch. The only way I could see George really winning is if he catches John in an awkward submission, like in a scramble. I just think John.
That's John's playground, though. Awkward.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, as good as George is everywhere, I think John's a little better, and I think he's more dangerous everywhere. And I just think think John would probably finish George. I'm going to have to say John Jones. The next one's interesting because they fought before.
Yeah, I've already said I'm not allowed to pick against my father.
So you're going...
I'm going with Daniel Cormier.
And his opponent is Anderson, the Spider Silva.
Yeah, he's going to smoke Anderson. Anderson has shown in his past he has issues with wrestlers, high-level wrestlers. You can go to Chael Sonnen. You can go to the Dan Henderson fight before he took over in the later rounds. But Anderson Silva has always shown kind of a weakness.
And this is Anderson in his prime.
In his prime, to wrestlers. And one that is way bigger than he is. When he gets him to the ground, he's just going to abuse him. And it's going to go the same as the first fight. DC's going to take him down, and DC's going to hurt him. Because DC, besides John Jones, is probably one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time. And might make a case for being one of the best heavyweights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can definitely make that case. But can he beat Anderson Silva in his prime?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think he throws him like a rag doll.
I don't know about that. I think if Cormier clinches with Anderson in his prime, I think we're going to see some knees coming down the pipe.
That knee's going to come down the pipe, and he's going to catch it and throw him through the air. It's just not even.
Anderson's going to land on his feet like a ninja because he's in his prime.
He's going to.
But he's gonna backflip on top of the post of the cage, and he's gonna run across it.
Let's remember, Anderson Silva had 2 really great fights as a champion. 2 really great knockouts. Let's really look at his championship run. And some of those fights in the championship run, I kind of looked at and was like, okay, that does not make you the greatest middleweight of all time.
Who's the greatest middleweight of all time? Michael Bisping.
Oh, yeah. You don't even know. You know what?
Scream over.
Daniel Cormier was in the middleweight division.
Yeah, well, that's like saying, if my penis was a little bit bigger, I'd be a porn star.
Listen, I'm done with this argument. Daniel Cormier wins every time. I will never change my mind on this.
So DC wins.
Yeah, DC wins.
To you.
Yeah, no matter what.
I don't know. I think it would probably go similar to the first time they fought. I think Silva being in his prime would bring more of a fight, but I think ultimately DC is just too good.
Because Daniel Cormier has to fight the one person on this list I don't know if I can say he can beat.
Well, let's go to the next bracket.
This is not cool.
Chuck Liddell, Stipe Miocic. Stipe. Why? Okay, so they meet in the center. How does this go? Remember, it's not in a cage; it's in an open area.
No, it's an open area.
So how does this go?
I think Stipe's boxing
is gonna be better than Chuck.
Not better. He's just going to be bigger.
So he's going to beat him with boxing, strictly boxing.
No, I think he's gonna utilize a lot of things. Stipe is very well rounded.
His singing.
His singing. No, Stipe is very well rounded. So I think he's big enough where he could take the fight to the ground. He can
take Chuck down.
I think he could take Chuck down. I know this is crazy. And
you don't think Chuck would land one of those famous counter punches or 2?
I don't.
Because remember, Stefan Struve knocked this man out.
Stefan Struve is also 7 foot tall and very awkward.
I would venture to say Chuck Liddell hits harder than Stefan Struve.
Yes, but I've seen Stipe also take a hit from Francis, take a hit from Junior Dos Santos, take a hit from
Prime Chuck.
I think Francis hits harder than Prime Chuck. Just he hits like a locomotive. I think Stipe is he's too big. He's just too big. That's the issue.
So
he's too big.
Because he's too big, he's going to win.
I think his boxing.
So if Yokozuna all of a sudden entered this bout, he would win because he's just bigger.
No, his wrestling is good enough where I think he can take him to the ground and overpower him.
And you don't think Chuck would land a punch that would hurt him enough?
No, because I've seen Stipe to take hard punches, so I know he has.
Stefan Struve knock him out.
Ooh, Rampage knocked out Chuck. He went over to.
Did you just make my case for me?
He went over to Pride and got knocked out by Rampage.
Who is harder, Rampage or Stefan Struve? So why'd you make that argument? That's a terrible argument.
Chuck, if he fights anybody light heavyweight or below, he wins.
I don't think I agree with that statement.
Most of these people on this list, I think if they're smaller than him, Chuck can beat them. I don't think George St. Pierre could beat Chuck.
We're talking about Stipe Miocic.
But my case is that Stipe is good enough and is well-rounded enough and big enough.
Beat Chuck.
Yes, to beat Chuck.
You don't think you're a little bit of a prisoner of the moment?
No, because I'm also thinking of the Randy Couture fight.
Which one?
The first one, where Randy basically took him down and beat him up.
Oh, you're not thinking of the next two where Chuck knocked him out?
Yes, also Randy was older in those fights.
By 4 months.
That 4 months means something.
I'm fucking with you. I'm probably gonna go Miocic too. I just wanted to see if I could sway you.
No, you can't on this.
You're pretty good on that one. All right. So we got Boss Roode and Brock Lesnar. This is kind of a dream matchup, right?
I'm done.
This is a cool.
You go first because
I'm gonna go here. You got a guy in Boss Roode who I think is him and Frank Shamrock were to me like the first two guys that were really truly well rounded, like pioneers. Brock Lesnar's a monster. I'm not a fan of it, the WWE stuff, and a little bit of his work in the UFC, I was a fan of, but I don't think he's a great mixed martial artist. But that being said, he has gotten this far because he's a fucking monster. He has unbelievable power, unbelievable wrestling.
Speed. He's fast as hell.
Man, unfortunately, I think that he could probably take Boss down and beat the fuck out of him. We've seen Kevin Randleman do that to Boss. Now, I know Boss won. Boss won the fight. That was the first time we've ever seen someone win a fight being entirely from guard. But he did so much damage from the guard. And I don't think he may be able to do that to Brock Lesnar.
Cain fight.
Too big, too strong.
I just want to point out the Cain fight.
What about it?
I think that Boss Rutan has a clear advantage on the feet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in his prime, because I don't think that Kevin Randleman fight was his prime.
They were both.
They were both out of their prime.
No, they were both in their prime.
No, because Boss basically almost retired after that. He was still having those back issues.
Boss has always had issues, but that was in the mid-90s, dude.
I would say Boss in his prime would be able to...
That was 94. That was pretty much right there.
I want to say that was one of his last fights, though, versus the Kevin Randleman. Someone correct us on Twitter.
But either way, I'm going to say Lesnar, only because he's just his wrestling and his control and his size here. Yeah, and it hurts me because I'm a huge Boss fan. But yeah, I just the thing is, if he was just a big guy that didn't have the wrestling credentials, it's just he is too fucking big and too good. That's the scary part. He's fast and he's strong. It's like a semi truck being on you, with a mean one too. He's not like a Dan Severn who I don't want to hurt this fucking guy. He has a wedding coming up. No. Lesnar's I want to make sure this guy doesn't get to the wedding. He's a mean dude. How could you?
Yeah, only because of the fight versus Randy Couture, because I'm under the assumption that I thought Randy could have beat Boss. And because...
If Randy could beat Boss, then Brock should walk through him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm only because of the Randy fight. That one's a tough one. I'm going to say Brock.
Next time I speak to Boss, he definitely won't watch this, so thank God. How about Mike Tyson, Randy Couture? Speaking of Randy Couture.
I don't want to pick. I don't want to do this.
I'll start and I'll do what you do. I'll give you a one-word, quick little answer. Mike Tyson.
That's what I want to say.
It's on you.
Mike Tyson.
Now you gotta tell me why. You went second.
He's gonna hit him. He's just gonna hit him. He's going to touch him. He's too fast. Randy Couture is going to have to get in there, and how he gets people down is from the clinch. He's big into dirty boxing, and if he even tries to get in close, he's going to get hit, and he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can really do. He needs someone who's either bigger than him or such competent at striking that he'll be able to get him to the ground. And Randy's not competent enough to do that.
Yeah, I got to go Mike Tyson too, just because Randy has to get in close to really have his game, and Tyson's going to land 1, 2, 3, 4. Who knows? It just takes one.
It honestly does. That's it. And he breaks you.
And we're talking about, if we're talking about in a fight like we are with no gloves, come on.
Ow.
So how about so he's pretty far for a boxer, and the last fight also a boxer, Roy Jones Jr. against Fedor Emelianenko.
Feeder.
Got to be Fedor. No disrespect to Roy Jones, it's just Fedor talking about too big, too strong, too fast. That's just he dwarfs him. This fight would stay standing, and Roy Jones would definitely have a puncher's chance. However, Fedor in his prime did not have terrible hands himself.
He would kick the daylights out of
He's
him.
an expert sambo specialist. This could be ugly for Roy Jones, so Fedor all day. All right, so that is that bracket. Let's get to it now.
Mir Cain.
Frank Mir, Cain Velasquez in their primes.
Cain. Cain, I think he's competent enough on his feet where he's going to be able to outclass Frank there. And because he is a high level wrestler in MMA as well, I think he'll be able to dictate where the fight goes. So if he wants it to go to the ground, he'll have it go to the ground. If he doesn't want it to go to the ground, it won't go to the ground. And that's going to be the issue. Mir is a great boxer, but I don't think
You really are overplaying his game. He's a decent boxer.
he's a decent and MMA
His
boxer.
boxing has gotten better.
I'm going to say
with his
MMA.
career.
His boxing MMA boxing
Is decent. It's not great. It's gotten a whole lot better.
It's gotten a whole
'cause
lot
it was
better.
terrible.
It was awful.
But it's still not very good. For him, it's good, but
Yeah.
it's not very good.
So I'm comparing him to his old
Sure.
old.
Okay, then yes, I
so
agree with you. Then
his-
it's light years where it
Yeah,
was.
his hands are comparable.
But Kane still, I think, has better hands.
Yes, and I think Cain.
And Kane doesn't even have that good of hands, but they're still better than Frank's, I think.
I think he's just going to dictate where the fight goes, and that's where Mir's going to have
I
his
hate
issue.
to agree with you like that this far along in the competition, but really, really, Cain Velasquez could, like you said, probably dictate where the fight goes, and therefore, the only thing I could see maybe is Frank Mir catching a sub like he did to Minotauro.
Yeah,
Maybe he can catch him, but I don't think so. I think Cain. Yeah, we'll go Cain. All right, that's one half of one bracket done. How about for the third time, John Jones versus DC? But let's point out, this isn't exactly the way mixed martial arts rules now. This is like more of a fight, so it does make a little bit of a difference. My mouth is dry as fuck.
is DC at heavyweight or at light heavyweight? So no cutting weight.
Well, I would say if it's his prime, he's not cutting weight. So I would say he probably walks around at comfortably if he 230, 240.
I would say John Jones does too. So it's
I would
not
say
as-
John Jones is probably more of like 220 lean, like a lean 220,
yeah,
225.
yeah, I would say that.
But very similar.
We've seen this fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say it's hard for me to say there is a universe where DC beats John Jones.
Well, I think he could.
I just that second fight was the best DC I've ever seen against John Jones.
Yeah, he looked good.
He
until
looked
got
great
caught.
until he got caught. But then you rewatch it after you knowing what happened, and you see what John Jones did and how he set him up, and
He's a master.
he's
He really is.
he's
DC's probably the best guy in the world to ever live. That's not named John Jones.
yeah.
It sucks.
I'm gonna go with John Jones. DC. I'm sorry, Dad.
Yeah, this one we've seen it play out twice already, so it's really hard for me. As much as I like DC,
I think he's the perfect champ. I think he's.
I don't know. It's hard for me to go against this because this fight's already happened twice, so got to go Jones there. All right, we got one bracket done.
Stipe, Brock
Yeah.
Lesnar.
How about that? Stipe Miocic and Brock Lesnar. Interesting, right?
One word answer. Stipe.
Why is that?
Because Stipe is, I think, good enough of a wrestler to stop Brock Lesnar from taking him down, and I think he's too good of a boxer. The fight's going to start standing up. It's going to look a lot like the Cain Velasquez fight versus Brock Lesnar. I think he's just going to piece him up, and he's going to beat him up, and Brock is not going to have an answer.
Yeah, funny you say that because I was thinking it was going to be a lot like the Overeem and Kane fight for Brock. Basically, Miocic can tee him up, land shots at will. Lesnar's going to shoot, and Miocic is more than capable, I think it's going to be hard to fend off a Lesnar takedown, but I think Miocic could. And, he's just going to fucking piece Lesnar up, and we all know Lesnar doesn't really like to get hit.
No one does, except for crazy people
some
like
people
Justin
do.
Gaethje.
Some people do. Yeah, how about that?
Crazy people like to get hit.
Yeah, what do you think of that fight, the Gaethje-Poirier fight?
It just, all right, I get it. Eddie Alvarez is like, I'm the nastiest man. I'm the most savage dude. No, I'm sorry. Justin Gaethje is the most savage person I've ever seen in my life.
Well, Michael Chandler was talking about that in his post-fight interview, too, about how he says he wants to be
the most savage.
Most violent.
Michael Chandler, I think that you can make a case at that. But you don't like to get hit as much as Justin Gaethje likes to get hit. It's not even that Justin Gaethje does like more vicious things to people. He's just vicious. His whole style, he gets hit.
Poirier got him, though.
Oh, my God. Poirier. Man, Poirier is... Could we ever see a Dustin Poirier champion?
For sure. Absolutely.
That would be interesting.
All right, so we got Stipe. Let's go Mike Tyson, Fedor Emelianenko. I'll start. I'll go Mike Tyson. And I say that because Fedor is going to have to get in close to Tyson as a sambo. He's a sambo fighter, and the striking is decent too. So he's gonna have to strike with Tyson. Okay, bad move.
Yeah.
So
Tyson knocks out everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way.
You ever see him hit up? They had to make like a special bag for him to hit. He hit so hard. Like he was hitting the bag, and the way he hit, the bag looked like it was wrapping around his fist, and then got launched. I was just like, what?
So the final four are Cain, Velasquez, John Jones, Stipe Miocic, and Mike Tyson. So let's go. Cain, Velasquez, John Jones.
Cain.
Why?
I think Cain, for this reason, I think he's big enough to where he would be able to implement the proper game plan that DC was trying to implement in his fight. DC just wasn't big enough. I honestly feel that way. DC was doing the perfect game plan to fight John Jones. He was smothering him. He wasn't allowing him to get distance. He was, and he was able to basically bully him a bit. Cain is big enough to where he can bully him, and I feel he can get in close and actually do some.
John Jones fucks Cain up, man.
Really?
I'm trying, man. I was trying to let you convince me, but how? You're saying Cain's gonna manhandle John Jones?
He's way bigger than John Jones.
John Jones is the one guy that I've seen fight that I think he could I think Brock Lesnar would have a hard time manhandling John Jones. There's something about his body. He knows how to use his leverage better than any human I've ever seen. He understands it. No way. Cain is not a good enough. He's not a good enough mixed martial artist to beat John Jones.
At one point, Cain Velasquez was considered one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
And I think that is a little bit inflated.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't. I think if you never got injured.
How many times did he defend his belt? Not many.
He lost it, got it back, defended it again, then lost it to Fabricio.
Exactly. He's not we're guilty in the media of it, but he's a great champion. I'm not here to bash Cain. However, I just look at who he's fought and look at who Stipe's fought. And people talk about Cain Stipe's at a way harder road. He's fought way better guys, and he's done way bigger things with it. We say, and this is the caveat with Cain. If we could only see a healthy, okay, if when Miocic is doing it. So I don't understand why people they hold on to this like mysticism with Cain, like he could have been if only he would have stayed. But he's not. At what point do we say, you know what, man? And this has nothing to do with this tournament because we're saying prime for this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm just saying at what point do we say, hey, this dude no longer is he's a bust. That's how I feel about Cain. Like,
oh no, I personally feel that Kane's a bust
but
too.
now let's look at him
feel
in
like
his prime.
He's in basketball terms, is Greg Oden. It's
Right,
like
similar.
Greg Oden, yeah.
But now let's look at him in his prime against John Jones. There's no way. Prime Cain is awesome, scary, awesome. But then prime John Jones,
So here's my problem.
you're not taking him down.
My problem with prime John Jones is, where's prime John Jones?
Probably in the most recent DC fight. He looked incredible.
But I think Kane in his prime could have beat him at that point.
Ooh, I don't think so.
Because John Jones looked good, but I think Kane would have won that fight.
Ooh, I don't think so.
Really?
I think more than likely, Cain has to take John down to win, right? Do we agree on that? Because he's not going to beat him in a fist fight.
No, I think he's big enough. My whole premise is that he's big enough to get inside, and he's able to dictate there. Once he's in close,
John is going to elbow the fuck out of him. John's going to catch him with an elbow coming in and probably put his lights out. But if you want to work in, John knows how to. Are you kidding me? John could hit you with an elbow if you're giving him a kiss. He could find a way to hit you with an elbow. He is amazing. The only way I think Cain wins that fight is if he takes John down and he grounds and pounds him. We've never seen anybody take John, including DC. We've never seen anybody.
I thought Gustafsson took him down.
We've never seen anybody take John down and hold him there and control him.
True.
Gustafsson took him down, and he did a little bit of work.
You know what? I think the only person that really could beat John Jones in a fight, just stylistically, is a guy like Vitor in his prime, only because he was good off his back, and he did almost submit him.
Anybody can beat anybody. The thing is, like, the way I'm looking at it is just like, what would most likely happen in my mind, you know?
Well, 10 out of 10 times. I think, fuck.
I don't know. Kane's good, but John Jones is like, he's unbeatable.
I'm going to go with, I don't think he's unbeatable. I think he would lose.
I think the only person that beats him is himself. I mean, really? How about Stipe versus Tyson on the other side? It's a boxing match.
That's a Tyson.
Probably, right? Because it's going to be a boxing match.
Stipe doesn't like to wrestle.
Well, even if he did, don't you think he might eat like an uppercut coming in?
He ate an uppercut from Francis, and he got...
Yeah,
but Tyson. I think hits harder than Francis. Hell yeah.
Okay. Tyson versus John Jones? That's the final. Mike Tyson, John Jones. Interesting, huh?
Okay. Let's think about this.
Yeah.
Let's really think about this.
It would start standing.
John Jones couldn't get in close. He would have to use his length.
Right.
I think he's long enough to use his length to stay away. And his attacking style is...
What Tyson does against bigger guys is he finds a way to get in and hits him with
Tyson has this style that's really weird that a lot of boxers don't utilize, and that's that head weave where he's keeping his head off track.
A la Gaethje, a la Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, and John Jones, as good as he is, has issues with guys who move like that. Alexander Gustafsson, he had a lot of issues with him because Alexander Gustafsson was.
Are you leaning
weird.
towards Tyson? Ooh, sounds like it. This is what I think. This is kind of how I think it's gonna go. I think, yeah, like you said, I think John Jones has to utilize his distance, right, his reach. Only way he's gonna win. So he's gonna,
or he can somehow get it to the ground. But
he has to get close to that though. So I think he's gonna utilize he's gonna be successful. So much so that I think Tyson's gonna figure out a way to bob and weave and get a way in. And I think when Tyson does that, that's gonna be his mistake because I think right when he does that, John's gonna fucking come in with a high crotch or a double. And I think once he does that, it's a wrap because John has him on his back. Tyson's fucked. And I think that's how it would go. Only because I think Tyson would get frustrated and leap in trying to catch him. And John is smart. He's very cerebral. He knows he can't win a striking fight with Tyson. He knows he's got to get this man to the ground.
Well, he's even said, like, he's done trying to knock people out. He's like, I'm just taking people down and I'm fucking submitting them. Like, it's way more fun. I'm going to say John Jones, too. Only...
He has more tools. And I think he's just...
Let's say Mike Tyson doesn't go in. I think he pieces him up on the feet, from distance.
That's the difference between the guys that Tyson's fought up until this point is John has the reach, the distance, the talent, the skill to frustrate Tyson enough to really want to get reckless, to jump in, at which point John could take him down. And let's face it, Tyson's got zero fucking, he's got zero skills when he's on his back.
Yeah.
It is prime. In prime Tyson we're talking about now. Maybe he does now.
John Jones is the king.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the way you look at it.
Until DC beats Stipe.
But how about Mike Tyson coming in a strong silver medalist?
Repping for the boxers out there.
And then who do we consider taking the third? Well, I think they have to fight for third place. Cain versus Stipe. Cain versus Stipe.
Stipe.
I agree. Stipe takes third place.
Yeah.
So first place, John Jones. Second, Mike Tyson. Third, Stipe.
Yeah.
Get it tattooed on your schwanz.
Get it tattooed on your schwanz?
Yeah, that's German for penis, I think.
That's a gentleman. I thought that was like a disease.
What, schwanz?
Yeah, schwanz. Sounds like a
Every
really
male
bad.
has one.
Some guy just walks in and says, man, I got the schwanz. I'm like, you should get that checked out, fam. Like,
all right. Until next time, I am AKA Straus 21. This is Apollo T. Mahal.
AKA Low, AKA the Don Juan of, I don't know anymore. I just,
Martin.
Who's by the
Lawrence.
way, dude, I love these hats.
What hats?
I don't know. The hats I wear. Check out my Instagram, Apollo Taj Mahal. Check out my. It's